In 2024, Europe experienced unexpected floods that hit cities and towns within hours. Picture this: torrential rain turning familiar streets into rushing rivers within hours. In Poland, heavy rain quickly turned into a disaster, flooding streets and surrounding buildings. Weather experts had noticed pressure systems that usually bring long-lasting rain, reminding people of the 1997 Oder River floods that caused major damage. In Spain, some villages were cut off by the water because the infrastructure hadn't been updated to handle changing weather patterns. Coastal areas developed during the 20th century real estate boom were hit hard. Imagine standing in Valencia as the floodwaters surged through streets that once echoed with festivals, now transformed into channels of swift, murky water. Cities like Valencia and Florence, famous for their old drainage systems, struggled to adapt to modern climate changes. Rescue teams used boats to reach people stuck in their homes, and the damage extended to the countryside and farmland that had already suffered from past climate issues. The sudden and massive flooding left people wondering, was this just a case of extreme weather, or was there something deeper going on? People have always been interested in controlling the weather. In ancient times, people did rain dances and made offerings to gods, hoping to change the weather for better crops and survival. By the 20th century, myths were replaced with technology. In the early 1900s, a man named Charles Hatfield, who called himself a rainmaker, said he could make it rain with a mix of chemicals. In 1916, he supposedly caused so much rain that it flooded San Diego. During World War II, both sides explored how to use weather as a weapon, trying to create fog, clear clouds, or use storms to their advantage. The US military did projects like Operation Cirrus, where they tried cloud seeding to change hurricane paths. These tests didn't always work as planned and sometimes made things worse, but they sparked more interest in weather control. By the 1980s, as technology improved, scientists began using radio waves to study and slightly change the ionosphere. HAARP's experiments were part of this trend. This raised the question, if people could make small changes to the atmosphere, could bigger changes come next? Some claimed that certain radio waves could change weather or control rain, though most scientists said this wasn't possible. These ideas, whether true or not, made HAARP seem mysterious and kept the idea of weather control alive in the public's mind. HAARP's story began during a time when countries were racing to be the leaders in technology. The Cold War wasn't just about building weapons, it was also about making new scientific discoveries. By the 1940s and 1950s, scientists had made big advances in using radio waves and started studying how they interacted with the ionosphere, a high layer in Earth's atmosphere. In 1958, Project Argus tested this by setting off nuclear bombs high in the sky to see how they affected Earth's magnetic field. These early tests, which caught the public's attention, helped scientists understand how energy works with the upper atmosphere. In the 1960s, the US worked on Project Sanguine, which tested using very low-frequency radio waves to communicate with submarines. When HAARP started in 1993, it continued these studies with strong antennas in Alaska that sent radio waves into the sky to see how the ionosphere reacted to different energy types. Although HAARP was meant for studying the ionosphere, its remote location and military connections made some people suspicious that there was more going on. This suspicion grew because military research during the Cold War was often secretive and included attempts to change the weather for military benefits. In the 2000s, as the internet became more popular, so did theories about HAARP. What started as quiet talk turned into worldwide speculation, helped by how easily information and misinformation spread online. Websites and forums were full of claims that HAARP's activities matched up with big disasters, like the 2010 earthquake in Haiti and major storms. Some people shared detailed investigations showing supposed connections between HAARP's tests and natural events. Scientists said these were just coincidences, but the stories kept going. Some documentaries featured interviews with former military staff and people who claimed to have inside knowledge, hinting that HAARP might be more powerful than most believed, even capable of weather warfare. Public trust, already weakened by past events like Watergate and the Pentagon Papers, made it easy for these theories to grow. With government secrecy still common, especially around military projects, many felt it was reasonable to be suspicious of HAARP's real purpose. By the time Europe faced floods in 2024, many people already believed HAARP could change the weather. Blogs and social media often showed satellite photos of HAARP's antennas with scary captions, making it seem mysterious. People didn't trust official explanations much, especially after past times when the government said one thing, but the truth turned out different. Even though scientists like Dr. Johan Svensson, a weather expert, said HAARP's radio waves could only make small changes, not enough to match nature's powerful forces, people still had doubts. Dr. Svensson explained that the ionosphere, which is constantly hit by strong solar winds and cosmic energy, deals with way more power than HAARP could ever produce. Reports from the World Meteorological Organization said big weather patterns are driven by complex systems like ocean currents and melting ice, which have a much bigger impact than anything HAARP could do. But because HAARP was connected to the military, it was hard for some to believe there wasn't more to it. Skeptics pointed out that during the Cold War, the government denied projects that later turned out to be more advanced than first claimed, which left room for doubt. The floods in 2024 showed that disasters often happen because people change the environment. After the Industrial Revolution, large areas of forest were cut down and cities spread out quickly. Wetlands and forests that used to soak up rain were replaced by buildings and roads, making it harder for the land to handle heavy rain. In places like the Netherlands, where they have used dikes and pumps for a long time to control water, modern technology worked well. But in areas without those protections, the floods were much worse. Reports from the year 2020 had already warned that climate change, which makes weather more extreme, would lead to more heavy rainfalls. This put more pressure on cities and farmlands that were already struggling. Cutting down trees to build cities or farms leaves less land to soak up water, which makes floods worse. Climate change, with warmer temperatures and melting ice, adds to the problem by making weather more unpredictable. Even though scientists say these are the main causes of severe weather, some people still prefer to believe in secret, man-made sources like HAARP. When things go wrong, people look for simple explanations, even if the real reasons are complex. Dr. Elena Morales, a psychologist, explained, "When life feels out of control, it's natural for people to reach for stories that make sense of the chaos." The internet has made this tendency stronger, giving people a place to find and share their own explanations during uncertain times. The public's low trust in institutions and repeated revelations of hidden information made it easier for people to latch on to alternative explanations. Belief in HAARP's secret power was part of this pattern, a reflection of how society handles fear and seeks out understandable answers to difficult problems. As floods and storms keep happening, people wonder what causes these powerful events. Are these weather patterns just nature, or is there something hidden behind them? The search for answers goes on, with some people focusing on known science and others looking for clues in what isn't explained yet. This search keeps the conversation going, driven by both facts and unanswered questions. The floods of 2024 left devastation in their wake and sparked countless debates. Was this the result of climate change and human impact, or could theories about HAARP hold a grain of truth? The question remains, Is HAARP truly behind the floods, or is the answer hidden elsewhere? Stay curious and informed by subscribing to Natural Phenomena Uncovered. Join our journey to explore the forces that shape our planet through science, history, and wonder. Hit subscribe and never miss out.